All right, we're going to Condition Red. A huge event is right around the corner for PC gamers, and you're going to want to listen up, because this is your survival guide for getting your rig ready for a whole new era of gaming. So here it is, the big question. Is your PC actually ready for March 19th? I mean, really ready? Because that's the deadline. And trust me, if your system isn't prepared, you are going to have a really, really bad time. So let's find out where you stand. You know, there's a reason we're calling this Ultimate Condition Red. This isn't just about another big game dropping. Nope, this is a whole new benchmark that's going to push our systems in ways we just haven't seen before. The bar for what we consider a capable gaming PC, it's about to be raised a lot. Systems that were running everything perfectly fine just yesterday might find themselves seriously struggling to keep up. It's a new era, and you don't want to get left behind. Okay, let's dive right into the first major hurdle, your graphics card. We are smack in the middle of what our source material is calling a severe VRAM crisis, and this is going to be your GPU's first and, for some, its final test. Let me be crystal clear about this. If you're running a graphics card with 8 gigabytes of VRAM, you are now officially at the bottom of the food chain. That amount of memory, it just doesn't cut it anymore. And wow, this slide just lays it all out. Look at the left, the danger zone. We're talking about popular cards here, like the RTX 3070 or 4060. They used to be great. Now, they're a catastrophic bottleneck at 1440p. They just can't handle modern high-res textures. Now look to the right, the safe zone. The most important thing to see here is that it starts at 12 gigabytes. Let's just let that sink in. 12 gigabytes. That is now the absolute red line for entry. Not for running things on Ultra, not for crazy high-end performance, just for entry. That's your new baseline if you want a decent experience, period. All right, let's move on to the next battleground because it all connects. We're talking about storage. And the new rule here is simple. That old mechanical hard drive you have, well, it's basically useless for this kind of gaming. You just have to love the honesty here. This quote says it all, doesn't it? The days of trying to load these massive, complex game worlds from a spinning metal disc are, well, they're over. It's time to upgrade, or you're going to be staring at a whole lot more than just loading screens. So, what's the solution? It's an NVMe solid-state drive. And the key thing to get here is that this isn't just about making your games load a little faster. No, modern game engines literally depend on this massive I/O bandwidth to stream in all the game's data in real time. Without that speed, the entire game just breaks. And that's the real kicker. You could have the most powerful, most expensive graphics card money can buy, an RTX 4090. But if you pair it with a slow hard drive, it's completely pointless. You'll get what the source calls catastrophic frame pacing lag, and your game will be an unplayable, stuttering mess. Okay, I know, we've laid out some pretty intense hardware requirements, and it might be sounding a little grim for a lot of PCs out there. But now we get to talk about the glimmer of hope, the light at the end of the tunnel, what the source is calling the Nixus miracle code. After all that talk about hardware doom and gloom, the great news is there's actually a lifeline for those of us with rigs that are kind of on the edge, and it all comes down to some absolutely brilliant software work. And the team behind this miracle is Nixus. I mean, these guys have a legendary reputation for a reason. The source literally calls them the gods of PC ports, and when you see what they've done here, you'll understand why. So what exactly is in their arsenal? Well, first off, they've packed in the latest AI upscaling tech, both DLSS and FSR. These basically render the game at a lower resolution and then use AI to smartly scale it up, giving you a massive performance boost. They've also built this brilliant portable preset that's designed specifically to help out lower-end systems. With these tools, even weaker GPUs actually have a fighting chance to survive. So, with all of that in mind, it's time for your final mission briefing. We're going to take everything we've talked about and boil it down into one simple, totally actionable survival checklist. So listen up. Here it is, your 3 critical checks. For your GPU VRAM, the absolute minimum is 12 gigabytes. Anything less is a catastrophic bottleneck. For storage, you have to have an NVMe SSD, or you'll get that awful frame pacing lag. And finally, for your main system RAM, you really want to be at 32 gigabytes to keep performance stable. This is it. This is your non-negotiable list for March 19th. And all this brings us to one last big question. What teams like Nixus are doing it's incredible, right? But does this point to a future where really smart software can keep our older hardware alive and kicking? Or is this all just a temporary band-aid for games that are just becoming way too demanding? It's definitely something to think about as we head into this wild new era of PC gaming.